Welcome to another deep dive, everybody. This time we're taking a look at a handbook of magic, spells, and potions. This book, compiled by Anastasia Graywolf, is just jam-packed with all sorts of spells and rituals. And you know what? We're going to explore it all.
Well, you know what makes this book so interesting is it's not just about the spells themselves. It really delves into the history and beliefs about magic from all sorts of different cultures.
It's kind of incredible. I think we've all wondered, is there a way to, attract some luck or maybe ward off bad vibes?
Oh yeah, and this book definitely suggests there might be. It claims that magic can be used for pretty much anything. Protection, healing, finding love, even influencing the weather.
But hold on, I was reading that it also says the effectiveness of the spells. It all depends on the user's belief. So if I don't really believe a spell will work, is it just for show?
That's kind of what Anastasia Graywolf suggests. She even includes specific rituals for purifying elements, like salt and fire, before you even do other spells, almost like laying the groundwork for your magic.
I love that, setting the stage, making sure everything's just right,
Yeah,
before the curtain rises.
exactly. And speaking of setting the stage, how about we jump into protection magic? I mean, who doesn't want to feel, safe and sound? And this book is just full of ways to ward off, bad stuff.
Let's do it. Protection spells, bring them on. One that I thought was so interesting was this ancient Hindu incantation to King Varuna. He's described as this all-seeing deity who can catch liars in his snares, like a cosmic detective.
Right. The incantation is pretty amazing. It talks about how Varuna can see everything between heaven and earth, even count the blinks of a person's eyes. It's really a picture of his vigilance and power.
Like invoking a divine surveillance system. But you know what's so interesting is that it's not just about catching liars. It's about seeking protection from, deception and harm.
Yeah.
It's like calling upon a higher power to kind of safeguard you from anyone who's trying to, maybe take advantage.
Exactly. And the way the incantation makes it personal is really striking. It calls upon Varuna to bind a specific person, even mentions their lineage. It's there's a real precision to it.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't want to mess up those names.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this divine protection. But this book also mentions some, let's just say, down-to-earth methods.
Oh, yeah. It's got this gypsy potion to prevent a house from catching fire, and it involves a black hen, gold quartz, and a Maundy Thursday egg.
Okay, hold on. A black hen. I'm intrigued, but I have to say that one kind of caught me off guard.
Well, the ritual is you bury those things under the doorstep of your home.
Yeah.
What's so fascinating is that it's blending, different belief systems, folk traditions, Christian symbolism. It's all kind of mixed in there.
Right. The black hen, the Maundy Thursday egg, they're hinting at sacrifice and purification, you're giving up something precious to kind of appease these unseen forces.
It's really interesting how these rituals tap into these basic human desires for safety and security. People throughout history, they've always wanted to find ways to control the world around them.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of control, how about we switch gears a bit and talk about healing magic? I mean, this book has a whole section on spells for easing ailments and, boosting well-being.
Yeah, it touches on all sorts of practices from different cultures. There's this one, a Cherokee shaman's ritual for easing rheumatism.
My grandma, she used to complain about rheumatism all the time. What did they do back then to, treat it?
Well, this ritual involves the shaman, placing their hands on the affected area and then invoking the red woman or the red man, depending on the gender of the person being treated.
So it's gender-specific healing energy.
That's what it seems like. And the invocation, it's not just asking for healing. It actually describes the red woman bringing these small red seeds and then quickly taking them away. It's a visual representation of the pain leaving the body.
Wow, that's a really strong image. It shows you how connected the physical and the spiritual are in these practices.
Right.
But okay, rheumatism is one thing. What about fevers?
Right.
Does the book have anything for knocking out a fever?
Oh, yeah. It's got a couple interesting ones. There's a powwow spell, and it's so simple. You just turn your shirt around with the left sleeve while you're reciting this prayer.
So it's the physical action combined with the words. It's almost like a symbolic gesture to break the fever somehow.
Yeah, that's a really interesting way to look at it. And then, if you want to be more active, there's a gypsy spell. And for this one, you got to go to a running stream. And then you throw pieces of wood back into the water 9 times.
9 times, huh? I'm noticing that number keeps popping up in these spells and rituals.
It does, doesn't it? 9. It appears a lot in like magical practices across all sorts of cultures. Maybe it's about like completeness or a mystical threshold or something.
It's like a secret code hidden in all this.
Yeah.
We've got shirt turning, we've got wood tossing. I'm starting to see a theme here. It's not just words, it's like you got to do something.
That's a great point. It's about like really engaging with the world around you, using your body to make things happen.
Like your body's like a tool for your intention.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered protection, we've covered healing. Now I'm ready for the good stuff. What about like love, luck, and fortune? Everyone wants that.
You're in luck. The book has all of that too. Let's start with a Gaelic incantation for a long life. And it calls for protection from the god of life, Bride, Mary, and Michael.
Long life spell, sign me up. Who wouldn't want a few extra trips around the sun, right?
What's cool about this incantation is that it says you have to put a charm on, like different parts of your body, almost like you're building a shield. And again, you see that blending of different religious figures.
Like weaving together spiritual protection, yeah. But a long life's just part of it. What about like happiness? Attracting joy, good vibes, any spells for that?
Well, there's this spell from American witchcraft tradition, and it's really simple, but powerful. It just says, put off despair. It's like a mantra, choosing hope over negativity.
I love that. It reminds you that you have a choice, right? To be positive, even when things are tough.
Yeah.
But what about money? Any money spells out there, for those of us who could use a little boost in the finances?
Well, there's a charm for getting money using swallow eggs and a root. It's pretty specific. You boil the eggs, put them back in the nest, and if the swallow brings a certain root, you keep that root for good luck.
The book doesn't really get into, like, the ethics of messing with a bird's nest, though.
Good point. Always good to think about that. But, I think what's interesting here is it's not about, like, forcing money to come to you. It's about, like, creating conditions for abundance.
It's like build a nest and the money will come. Okay, what about the big one, the lottery? Any spells for, like, hitting the jackpot?
There is. But it's complicated. It involves drawing a pentagon and calling upon specific spirits.
A pentagon. It's like these rituals often use shapes and symbols, almost like a visual language for the unseen world.
It's like tapping into those deeper patterns of the universe, right?
Okay, so we've got long life, happiness, money, even lottery wins. It's like all the things everyone wants. But what about, like, influencing people or situations? Like, if someone's being difficult, can you use magic to, like, make them back off?
Well, that's where things get a little trickier, ethically. The book does talk about spells for influencing others, but you got to be careful. Think about those consequences.
Of course, of course. We're not saying go out and do anything harmful, but I am curious about what the book says. For example, there's this spell for enchanting firearms. It's got both divine and demonic forces.
Yeah. You recite certain words while you're loading the firearm, calling upon God and the devil for power and accuracy.
That's wild. It combines these forces we think of as opposites, like good and evil.
Like, magic's not always black and white, right? There are those gray areas, the stuff we don't fully understand.
Okay, enough about firearms. What about something a little more everyday, like getting a job? Does the book have anything for that?
Oh, yeah, it does. There's a hoodoo charm for finding a good job, and it uses green and red candles, and you make an offering of milk.
Green and red candles, huh? Interesting choice.
Well, green's for prosperity and growth, and red can represent, like, action and willpower. The milk offering, I guess that's, like, sweetening the deal. But the charm also stresses, like, visualization and having a positive mindset.
So it's not just about the stuff you use, it's about your thoughts too, right? Believing in yourself.
Exactly. And if you just want, like, a general boost of luck, well, there's a potion for that, too. It requires the head and feet of a green frog.
Okay, I see we're not done with the animal parts in this book. It is full of surprises.
For this potion, you put the frog parts inside an elder tree for 21 days. Elder trees are often seen as, like, portals or, like, places where spirits dwell.
So you're, like, filling the potion with the magic of the elder tree.
Exactly. And these ingredients and practices, they might seem strange now, but they show this deep connection people had with the natural world.
Like they're using the language of nature to, like, talk to those unseen forces and change their reality. Okay, so we've got enchanted firearms, candle magic for jobs, and a frog potion for good luck. This book is really something.
And we're just scratching the surface. We haven't even gotten into the love and matchmaking magic yet.
Ooh, love magic. That's something that's like fascinated people forever. Let's dive in.
Okay, so one that I thought was really interesting was this spell for 3 maidens to figure out who their future husbands will be. They have to make this chain of juniper and mistletoe berries and oak acorn.
Juniper, mistletoe, oak, acorns. It's like a woodland wedding.
Yeah, and then they burn the chain around a log in the fireplace, while each maiden is holding a prayer book open to, like, the marriage ceremony. The book says each maiden will see her future husband, but he'll be invisible to the others.
It's like a mystical matchmaking party.
It really is. But for those who aren't meant to marry, it says they'll see a coffin or, like, a misshapen form cross the room.
Well, that took a turn. But it's interesting how it mixes divination with, like, you know, the desire for love.
It shows that people always want to know the future, especially when it comes to love.
Okay, so what if you're not ready for marriage, but you just want to know, like, the first initial of your future love?
There's a charm for that, too. You peel an apple, swing it around your head 3 times, and then throw it on the floor. Whatever letter it forms, that's the initial of your sweetheart.
Okay, now that's a spell I can get behind. Sounds fun and harmless.
It reminds us that magic can be playful and full of wonder, too.
All right, we've got spells for attracting a husband, charms for finding initials, but what about just, like, boosting your overall attractiveness?
There's an ancient Asiatic incantation for increasing beauty. It calls upon all these different gods to banish ugliness and enhance grace.
It's like a prayer for a cosmic makeover.
It really is. It speaks to that human desire to feel confident and beautiful, right?
Okay, so we've covered so much: protection, healing, love, luck, even influencing other people. This handbook of magic, spells, and potions, it's just full of surprises.
And we're just getting started. Next time, we're going to delve into the world of relationships and all the drama that can happen when love and magic collide.
Ooh, sounds juicy. I can't wait.
Well, the book doesn't hold back. We're going to be talking about spells for manipulating relationships, from cursing a cheating lover to separating a couple.
Cursing a cheating lover, that's intense.
One spell uses a pricked candle and a crab shell. It's like a way to inflict pain on the unfaithful partner.
It's like a magical revenge spell. It just shows you magic, like any kind of power, it can be used for good or bad.
Exactly. And while we definitely don't condone using magic to hurt anyone, it's important to know that these practices exist and to understand why people might use them.
Absolutely. It's all part of, like, being human, right? All those complicated emotions, wanting to find love and connection, even if it sometimes takes us down a dark path. But okay, we've talked about finding love and getting revenge. What about protecting yourself from, like, negative magic?
That's where it gets really interesting. The book's got all sorts of counterspells and protection methods. We're talking ancient Hindu incantations to deflect curses, European magician spells to ward off witches, even a gypsy charm to trap a witch inside a church using greased shoes.
Trap a witch inside a church with greased shoes. Now that's a story I gotta hear.
We'll have to save that one for next time.
A cliffhanger. I can't wait to hear more about these counter spells and protection stuff. They really show you what people were afraid of when it came to witchcraft.
Exactly. It's a glimpse into history, how people tried to make sense of the unknown and protect themselves from what they saw as dangerous. But for now, we'll leave you with that image of a witch stuck in a church thanks to some greasy shoes.
I can already picture it.
Yeah.
This has been a really fascinating deep dive so far. I feel like I've learned so much about, like, all the different ways people practiced and thought about magic.
Me too. It just shows you that magic is more than just fantasy. It's a reflection of who we are, our desires, our fears, and our fascination with the mysteries of the universe.
Well said. Stay tuned for the next part of our deep dive, where we'll keep exploring a handbook of magic, spells, and potions, and uncover even more secrets of the magical world. Okay, so last time we were hanging out with that witch trapped in a church with the greased shoes. What's the deal with that?
Well, it's a pretty simple charm, actually. You just buy a new pair of shoes, and then you grease the soles on Saturday. Wear them to church, and boom, no witch can leave till you do.
So it's not like, physically trapping them. It's more like controlling their exit, right?
Yeah.
Like some kind of invisible barrier.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. And it makes you wonder, like, what did people believe about witches that they would come up with this? It speaks to a real fear of her power.
Right. Makes sense. Like they wanted to contain that power. Okay, so thinking about all these witches, what about the people who were, like, worried about them? Like, say, someone thought a witch was harming their cattle.
The book's got something for that, too. Another gypsy charm.
Really? What do you need? Like a silver lasso or?
Not quite. But you need a piece of the animal's heart, the one that's been harmed, I mean, and butter for frying. Oh, and 3 nails from a coffin.
Wow, okay. That took a dark turn.
Yeah. So the ritual is you fry the heart and then pierce it with those coffin nails. And the belief is that will kill the witch who was responsible.
It's a pretty strong reminder that these practices weren't just like folklore or something,
Mhm.
For some people, this was serious stuff. It was about protecting their lives, their livelihood.
Absolutely. And even though it might seem shocking now, you always have to think about the historical context.
Right, of course. So speaking of protection, what if you just like felt cursed? Generally unlucky. Anything for that.
There's this ancient Hindu incantation for countering curses, and it compares the curse to fire, trying to avoid a lake. So it's all about like repelling that bad energy. And it goes even further, like you hurl the curse back at whoever sent it, like you're throwing a bone to a dog.
Whoa. So it's not just defense, it's like offense too, huh?
Exactly. Like that whole idea of karma, what goes around comes around.
Okay, so we got protection from witches, from curses, but it's not just like human threats in this book, right? There's
Yeah.
fairies, demons, all that.
Oh yeah, it's got a Gaelic spell to protect against fairy influence. Lots of calling upon like religious figures for help, like a spiritual bodyguard.
Blending those folk beliefs with like established religion,
Yeah.
right?
And then for demons, there's this spell from a necromancer. It's supposed to protect against like hordes of demons
Yeah.
and all sorts of evil influences. It's like a series of commands, almost like you're banishing them.
So you're taking charge, showing them who's boss.
Right. You keep repeating these phrases like arise, be shamed, flee, depart, and you picture like all their wickedness rising up like smoke.
Okay, fairies, demons. Can't forget the classic, the evil eye. Is that in there?
Oh yeah, there's quite a few charms for dealing with the evil eye. It was a big fear for a lot of people. One of the Gaelic incantations talks about it being fueled by envy and like bad intentions.
Like someone's giving you a look that's so nasty it's got a curse attached to it?
Yeah, basically. And then this incantation, it calls upon like Mary, Bride, Columba, all the saints, angels. It's like they're building a fortress of spiritual protection.
Whoa. And then there's a gypsy potion to protect children from the evil eye. It uses stream water and coals and meal and garlic.
That sounds more like a soup than a potion. But the interesting part is the rhyme that goes with it. It's like, evil eyes be extinguished, dust be in your eyes, may you burn in the fire of God.
That's intense, combining these like ordinary ingredients with this really powerful imagery.
Exactly. It shows how magic can be found like everywhere, even in your kitchen. But we've been talking a lot about defense. What about actually reaching out to the spirit world?
Ooh, spirit communication. That's where things get really interesting. So this book, it talks about creating a spirit circle, right? Like a seance.
It's similar, but the focus is really on like creating a peaceful, respectful atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, dim lighting, fresh flowers, being open to whatever comes through.
So it's not about forcing the spirits to show up. It's about inviting them to talk.
Exactly. And the book's really clear that not every message from the spirit world is like true. You have to use your judgment, don't just believe everything you hear.
Like a spiritual filter.
Yeah.
Separating the real from the fake. Okay, but what about people who want more than just communication? Like, what if they want to actually see spirits?
Believe it or not, this book even has instructions for making a magic carpet.
Hold on, are we talking about, like, flying carpets here? Like, to a whole new world?
Not quite. This carpet's not for traveling. It's for contacting the dead and getting answers to questions.
It's like a direct line to the other side. But how do you even make a magic carpet? Is there, like, a special loom you need?
It's pretty involved. Specific materials, rituals, invocations, the whole 9 yards. And it really stresses that you need to ask for angelic protection.
So it's not something to try on a whim, huh?
Definitely not. You've got to create a circle, burn incense, recite prayers, write your questions down on parchment. It's a whole thing.
What if the spirits are, like, being stubborn? They don't want to cooperate.
The book suggests using things that were special to the deceased person, or calling their name out loud.
It's like you're building a bridge, using those familiar things to make a connection.
But it's not just about calling spirits. There are also spells for getting rid of them. Exorcism, particularly for those who died by suicide.
Exorcism. So it's like the other side of spirit communication, right? Dealing with those who might be like trapped or troubled.
Exactly. And there's a specific incantation for that, for someone who took their own life. You're supposed to perform it at the place where they died.
It's like helping them to move on from that place of pain.
And there's even an incantation for calling upon a god of the dead. But the book warns you, Don't keep going if they don't show up.
The god of the dead. That sounds really intense.
It is. It involves invoking certain deities, burning incense, and offering a sacrifice to appease them.
It's a good reminder that we're dealing with forces we may not totally understand.
Right. And the book ends this section by reminding us that even when working with spirits, you got to be respectful. There's even a charm for giving a spirit permission to leave. You know, treating them with courtesy, making sure they don't cause any harm.
So it's not about, like, bossing them around. It's about working together.
Exactly. Ethics and compassion, they matter, even in magic.
Man, we've covered so much in this deep dive. This handbook is a gold mine.
And there's still more to go. We haven't even talked about all the symbols and omens in here. You know, black cats, horseshoes, all that.
Okay, tell me everything. Lucky signs, unlucky signs. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
So last time we were talking about all those lucky and unlucky signs. Like, are black cats really bad luck? What about horseshoes?
Right. Well, this book has a whole section on omens and even conjurations for each day of the week.
Wait, so each day has its own, like, magical vibe? That's so cool.
It's like a cosmic planner for magic.
I love that.
We already talked about Sunday with Surgat for finding treasure, and Monday with Lucifer for getting favors and boosting magic.
And I'm still thinking about maybe asking Lucifer for a raise.
Well, the book says Monday is also good for finding hidden treasure, especially stuff hidden by, like, men or spirits. But the conjuration for that one is really long. Lots of divine names, angelic powers, all that.
Sounds like a magical treasure hunt.
Okay.
But you said to be careful with Lucifer. What about, like, the other spirits for each day? Are they all, potentially tricky?
The book's big on being respectful no matter what kind of magic you're doing. It's about, like, working with the spirits, not trying to control them. But yeah, to answer your question, Tuesday's conjuration is Frymost, and they're all about discord and separation.
Discord and separation. So maybe not the best day to, like, make up with your boyfriend then.
Probably not. But remember, the book's not telling you to use magic to cause trouble. It's more about, like, understanding what each day's energy is good for.
Like, you've got this magical toolbox, right? But you have to choose the right tool for the job. Okay, so Sunday's treasure, Monday's power, and maybe some favors. Tuesday's breaking stuff apart. What about Wednesday?
Wednesday is Astaroth, and they're associated with vanity and laziness.
Vanity and laziness. That doesn't sound very productive.
Maybe not. But, everything has its place. Maybe Wednesday's a good day for, like, self-care. Taking it easy.
Okay, I can get behind that. Spa day Wednesday, back to work on Thursday with boon for love and money and eloquence and reconciliation. It's all making sense. What about Friday? Isn't Friday the 13th unlucky?
Well, the book doesn't talk about Friday the 13th specifically, but Friday is Belial, and they're pretty powerful, good and evil, all mixed up together.
Belial, another one with a bit of a reputation.
Yeah, you gotta watch out. The book says they can grant you favors, make your wishes come true, but don't make any deals with them.
No deals with Belial. Got it. But it makes you think, why is Friday connected to such a, intense spirit?
Right, like maybe Friday's just a day when there's more energy flowing, the veil's thinner,
Okay, on to the weekend. What about Saturday?
Saturday's Agiel. And they're all about protection from evil and revealing hidden knowledge.
So Saturday's for feeling safe and learning secrets. Sounds like a good way to kick off the weekend.
Spiritual security and a quest for truth.
I love it. Okay, so we've got all the daily conjurations, but what are those, like, everyday omens? Tell me about horseshoes and black cats, all that.
Well, horseshoes, those are always lucky. You should hang one up for protection. The book even says if you put one on your barn, you'll have a great harvest.
Like the power of the horse, even when the horse isn't there.
Right. And seeing a horse is lucky, too.
Oh.
Especially a brown or gray one.
So I see a gray horse, I should go buy a lottery ticket.
Well, it doesn't say that. But it does say that spitting on your little finger and rubbing it on a horse brings money.
Okay, I think I'll pass on that one. What about, like, bad luck stuff?
Well, throwing away a piece of bread is bad luck. Walking under a ladder, of course. Oh, and playing cards on a table that's not covered.
Wait, what? What if it's a really nice table?
Doesn't matter. Uncovered table, bad luck.
Good to know. What about black cats? Are they really bad luck?
It's funny. The book doesn't say anything about black cats, but it does say owls are bad luck.
Owls. But they're supposed to be wise.
It doesn't explain why, but it does give you a counterspell for owls. So someone must have thought they were trouble.
Even wise owls can have a dark side, I guess.
Yeah.
This book is really full of surprises.
What about colors? Do colors have, like, magical meaning?
Oh, yeah. It talks about the colors of gemstones, like amethyst, the purple one. It stands for love and truth, or passion and suffering, depending. And it can, like, boost your magic.
Boost your magic. So it's like a magical battery.
Exactly. It's like the gemstones themselves have power.
So if I'm feeling really ambitious with my magic, I need some amethyst jewelry.
Maybe. But the book's really clear about this. The real magic comes from you. Your belief, your intention, your respect for those forces you're working with. It's not about the stuff you have. It's about what's inside you.
This whole deep dive has been amazing. We've learned so much. Protection spells, love charms, how to deal with curses, talk to spirits, even lucky horseshoes. It's really incredible how people have believed in these things and practiced magic for like centuries. It shows how much we want to understand the world and control our own fate.
Absolutely. This handbook of magic, spells, and potions, it's like a window into like what people really wanted, what they were afraid of, that search for meaning.
And the real magic is not the spells themselves, but the belief, the power of the human imagination. It's about connecting with something bigger than ourselves.
Beautifully said. This deep dive has been so inspiring. I feel like I've learned about magic, but also about myself.
That's what we're all about here at the Deep Dive. Sparking curiosity, getting people excited to learn new things, and to explore the world.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through a handbook of magic, spells, and potions. Until next time, may your paths be filled with magic and discovery.